Well, in the words of last year's UK Eurovision entry, what the hell just happened? Um, I probably did that just to pop off Lance, who's probably watching if he's caught the stream by now. Um, but
I don't know,
yeah,
Ashley.
the,
When I
the the
when I
turns
think
have
of
tabled. The turns have tabled in a lot of categories, and I think in a lot of people's thinking with what happened tonight at the BAFTAs. Hi, if you're watching us live, because you don't have an interest in watching it on archive if you're in America. If you are in America and you've waited to watch this after the broadcast finishes at 10:30 Eastern on E exclamation point, um, welcome. Put your comments in the regular comments because you can't put it in the live chat because wibbly wobbly timey wimey. Um, so yeah, AJ and Owen were completely blind to all this. As soon as things started happening very early on, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be one of those BAFTAs then this time." Um, so yeah, I'll let you guys speak first before we get into the rundown of what actually happened tonight.
Well, one thing we were saying in the prediction video was there's always the possibility of the 2022 thing. Obviously, it wasn't that crazy,
mm,
but about half and half. That crazy. As far as what this might mean for anything, I was trying to remember what the acting wins were that year. I remember Butler beat Fraser, and was it Barry Keoghan beat Kwan?
I believe so.
I was trying to remember the actresses, but I can't remember. I'm trying to remember who even won the Oscars for that year. Oh, Yo and Curtis. So they were beat by Blanchett, I imagine. And so they were like it's like the main competitions were there. I feel like in that sense, I don't think people anybody's really had Musaku and Penn as this high. We were kind of saying recently that it's weird how much Penn almost feels like an underdog compared to Del Toro. Um, and honestly, I'm fucking thrilled because I love Penn in one battle. I've actually been a bit baffled this whole season that he hasn't been doing better. So are you gonna say something else?
Yeah, I was just raising my hand because I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh,
Your supporting actress win a BAFTA was Carrie Condon for Banshees.
right. So yeah, and yeah, because then I remember in that season, like really early in the season, Condon was like considered the front runner, right? Before
I,
like awards really started coming in.
that was before Hell came down and life sucked that year in every way possible.
So basically, what 2022 BAFTA was a very logical alternate timeline.
For sure.
Here, of course, we've got Arameo, who is otherwise not in the conversation, but is a great win. I do wonder. The likelihood seems low just because of the way things eventually go in different directions. But with I Swear's U.S. release date being like the end of April, is it Oscar eligible for next year if they wanted to go that route?
Possibly.
I mean, it could be.
That would be really interesting.
Its official debut was at TIFF on September 7th, but that doesn't count as that counts as its debut, but not its theatrical run.
Let me see if it's got a release. Yeah, Sony Pictures Classics have acquired distribution rights back in October.
But
I
there's
don't
no
see
date
anything
on when
in
it's supposed
terms
to
of
come out.
definitive US release. Let me double check. Google, help me.
we were also saying on the pen front that it was really good for One Battle After Another because I would say Taylor losing, given that Madigan wasn't here, which I imagine Taylor at this point.
I would say so.
Um, it's a pretty big curveball that Taylor lost, but One Battle got to balance out with that pen win and then get a couple of tech wins that I feel like a lot of us weren't anticipating.
Yeah, editing is kind of a curveball that none of us were really thinking would happen, but I mean, that's what they went with, and I'm okay with that answer completely, but
Yeah,
it definitely puts a little wedge in everything here.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. We were saying F1 because that's just kind of typically the kind of movie, like the kind of frenetic tech-heavy movie that gets it.
Sure.
One Battle as an editing winner makes perfect sense.
Oh yeah.
In that respect,
Especially
I'm kind of
being-
not surprised that PT, because I can't remember how well it's done previously in the Eddies, but I'm considering his work. I'm surprised PTA stuff hasn't got editing nominations and or wins more so throughout his entire career.
Yeah,
For sure.
I imagine were Boogie Nights and Magnolia not. I know Boogie Nights got the screenplay and supporting nominations. Was that it for it?
Let me quickly check.
And I was trying to remember if Magnolia just got the Cruise nomination. Because yeah, it's like editing in his has been a huge part of his movies since the beginning. Even Hard 8 is really like has that same flow.
Accolades. I should probably just go to the Academy Awards and look for editing, right? Rather than look at each individual film. Right, here we go. Where is it?
Yeah, because the only movies of his that don't really feel that way are There'll Be Blood and Phantom Thread. Because even The Master's a little frenetic in the editing department at times. When we're like kind of, especially in those earlier scenes when we're just kind of going through what Phoenix's deal is, if that, however you want to put it.
So There Will Be Blood was nominated. Master wasn't. Inherent Vice wasn't. Phantom Thread wasn't. And Licorice Pizza wasn't. So yeah, only There Will Be Blood has had an editing recognition, at least at the Oscars.
Yeah, in retrospect, it's insane that Boogie Nights wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, obviously Magnolia, given its structure, also, but Boogie Nights also just feels like it has editing automation written all over it. But again, that's retrospect. Since Boogie Nights at the time was just like, whoa, who's this dude?
Yeah. Okay, he'd done Hard 8, but it was like, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it would have been. Okay, no, there it is, yeah. So that year, even though I can't remember we've already done this in the Oscars prediction, you know, retrospective thing like we've done with Brian, whatever. That year, Titanic beat Air Force One, As Good as It Gets, Good Will Hunting, and LA Confidential. That's a pretty strong list on editing anyway.
I would not have guessed. I mean, even with its picture nomination, I would not have guessed As Good as It Gets would have been in that lineup.
But yeah, like, I mean, just generally, it's an interesting turnout. Alan didn't did too bad of a job, I feel, with hosting. I feel some of the jokes didn't land. It didn't seem like as active and as crazy as the audience have been the last couple of years with Tennant. Then again,
I
we
also
did get the moment of sort of channeling the I think it's the High Life or whatever, the comedy. You know, he even mentioned it, the comedy that's getting adapted into sort of a stage musical and whatever. Having him sort of be like it would be sort of back in the day, at least at UK cinemas, where they'd stop the film halfway through and have somebody come out with the snack tray. It's like, peanuts!
also, also in his defense, we did have some trouble gauging his flow during like his monologue because we were having buffering issues.
Yeah. That being said, I felt like his short, you know, that sort of. I feel like the weird thing is, like, when I saw the opening sort of like Zoom call style thing, I was like, wait, are we trying to make a joke at David Tennant? Because like David Tennant's big thing the past few years was that thing with Staged with Michael Sheen, which was basically all about doing stuff on Zoom calls, because it was a, you know, originally when they did it first, it was supposed to be during the pandemic, and then it was just like easier because probably a lot of conversations are done like that now rather than having to be in person as whatever. So I was like, why are we doing that? I'm trying to remember what the dog was from.
It did it did feel like somebody less clever wrote that segment a little bit.
I'm trying to remember what film the dog was from, because I know why Jacoby was there, and Hannah was there, and Brian was
Was
there,
it
and Paddington,
what I
and
thought at the end was is that not just Alan Cummings' dog or what?
it might be. It's just as like I wasn't sure because it's like the wallpaper was different. It didn't like match either. Like I don't know. But yeah, um, we randomly start with VFX, the only tech category that apparently mattered for some reason compared to some of the previous years. And unsurprisingly, it did go to Avatar. Fire and ass.
Yeah, I know. I made a mistake. I'll make that mistake again.
Oh, I thought you were referring to the first time you called it fire and ass.
No,
No, that was not a mistake.
no, that's fine. That's totally fine.
I still refuse to believe that was unintentional.
I definitely was. I did not mean to say that. It was a Freudian slip that just was a happy accident.
Then we jump to supporting actress, which gets mixed up because Wumi Masako wins for Sinners.
That
British
was
Q actually
cra-
played a part.
that was crazy how there was basically a spoiler in the cheering.
Hmm?
I would not have guessed her cheers would be that loud. And I feel like she had the most by far.
Yeah, but I think actually second was Emily Watson, who
Yeah.
isn't even in the Oscars run. So I think
Well, she's also kind of got that. We we could probably say Emily Watson has legend status now, can't we? At this point.
for as long as a career as she's had, I'd say easily, yeah.
See, when we did the BAFTA predictions and I ran through my thought process and I stood at my computer just staring at the nominees, and one by one I just took them off and took them off, and I got down to Teyana Taylor and Wumi Masako, and I was like, are they gonna go that? And I was about to say it, and I was going to say it, and I was like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Tiana Taylor's going to win again, and everything will be right with the world. Um, then Ashley, of course, had to predict it. And for a second, I was like, go with your gut. And my gut was telling me not to follow what I originally was thinking. That's why I went through everything one by one in the predictions, because I wanted to tell you my thought process of why I eliminated people like I did. And when it got down to Misaku being my last elimination, I was thinking, did I make a mistake? And then Ashley said it, and I was like, yeah, I think I did. But I could have just pivoted live, because you don't know what I had predicted. No one did, except for me. And I didn't do that. And I probably should have. Yeah, I definitely should have.
I guess another game we can play during this discussion is what if we hadn't predicted SAG yet? Would we say the same things we already did?
God.
I think I would still say Taylor for SAG,
Yeah.
but I love the wrench we have in this right now.
I mean, if I was predicting what I would have wanted, especially out of BAFTA, I would have went Carey Mulligan for sure.
This is Things have changed as it's gone on, but I don't know about you guys, but the first time I saw Sinners, mind you, I've seen Sinners like fucking several times now. But the first time I saw Sinners, Misako didn't really register.
Not at all.
Yeah, she kind of just blended in with the other characters for me once they got to the juke joint. Because she's got. It feels like her big scene is her first scene in the house, and that's the
Mhm.
clip they keep using for her. But yeah, just as far as like having a race and making things interesting, I'm pretty psyched about this. But I still think Taylor's got a lot of momentum behind her, and and we can always, some of us are still holding out for the Madigan thing. So
Madigan wins SAG.
yeah, I was gonna say if, which is not impossible because she also has the longevity that SAG probably likes.
Yeah, with the
Um,
actors, I feel like that's a great thing to have.
so it's gonna get, especially if Madigan gets SAG, it's gonna get really really interesting at the last minute there.
For sure.
Um, but I'm trying to ease my heart by just coming to terms with, just tell yourself the Madigan thing won't happen and get over it now. And I'm on the, I feel like Taylor's got a lot of momentum right now things still, because even if Misaku beat her here, this was still huge for One Battle's momentum anyway.
Overall, in general.
And not that it needed any more momentum, but we're done. I mean,
Yeah, it's over.
I do have Sinners getting SAG Ensemble. Could still happen, but
Hmm.
One Battle just going all the way, including that right now, would just be, it's basically just getting bonus points at this point. So, and again, I'm not mad about it. I love One Battle. I love all these films. I'm so glad Anderson said people saying movies aren't good anymore can piss right off. Is that what he said? It seemed like
Yeah.
it kind of cut out a little bit. I think
They
it
edited
piss
it
off.
to some extent.
But
I mean, I've
yeah,
got one.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck people are looking at that it's so common to say that, but movies have been on a really good run lately if you're looking in the right places and looking at what this award season has brought. There's so much good shit going on.
And I will finally check that last tick box 2 weeks from Saturday. and be able to tell you my opinion on Train Dreams.
I stand by what I think you're gonna think.
Probably.
But
I
I
will
will
say
be.
that
I
if
will
I
be glad you finally seen it.
if I can at least tolerate that, I don't actively hate it in any way, shape, or form, then I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is one of the best lineups for picture in a long time. I like or love everything that's nominated.
The last time I felt that way was 2009, 2019. I wasn't crazy about. There's usually one where it's like I don't hate that movie, but I'm not crazy about it. That year it would have been Little Women.
Crap, never mind, there's Frankenstein. Never mind.
Yeah.
Conversation's over.
Well, no, I don't even. And I feel. I guess I feel. This is kind of weird, but surely you'll get the context. I feel about Frankenstein the same way I feel about Little Women, which is like
I can definitely say I don't.
I don't dislike it, but there's always that at least that one movie where it's like something else could go there.
Yeah, that's the movie that I would take out if it were me. Hi,
Multiple
Blue
other
Moon.
things multiple other things could go there, but I'm not like mad that it's there.
Blue Moon, Weapons.
I don't I'm trying I had the last picture nominee that I hated.
I can.
I'm sure you can.
Yes, I can.
Was it the well I guess The Way of Water would have been the same year as Everything Ever All at Once, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. That was a bad
Oh,
year.
okay. Hold on. Besides the elephant in the room, by the way, I just realized what I just said. It doesn't exist in my mind. That's
It shouldn't. What about the documentary that won Best Picture? I mean, that's another one that's a big one for me.
I really like. I don't love it, but I really like Nomadland.
I'm sorry, man. I just no. God no.
I put I put Swanee in my top 10 for supporting actress. That's how much I liked Nomadland.
I know you did.
That was her name, wasn't it? I think so.
I believe so. Doesn't matter. It's still the same person.
So how did we get here?
Nope. Keep on going.
Oh, we were talking about what PTA said about
Yes.
Yeah.
movies are great.
Speaking of PTA,
Yes.
supporting actor and the guy that didn't show up.
Hey, we were saying it was crazy to think a performance like Lockjaw wasn't getting pen more like actual accolades when it came to televised award shows. Well, this is what
I
happens when we speak things into existence.
I remember the trajectory at the beginning of this season where this might be hard for people to believe now, but if they were here, they know that Sandler
Yes,
was was at the top of all the lists.
that is correct. And
And
Sean,
when Sandler started to drop off was right when One Battle came out.
correct.
And I remember when One Battle came out and I saw the movie, immediately without hesitating I said, "Oh, Penn's got his third Oscar now." And then fucking Del Toro took like every goddamn Critics Award.
Yes.
And it's I love this. I'm getting like 2016 vibes from this supporting actor race. Remember how all over the place 2016 supporting actor was?
Oh yeah.
Like Ben Foster got the Spirit Award. Ali only had SAG. Dev Patel got BAFTA for Lion.
Yeah, he did. I was so happy when that happened too.
Well,
Oh,
who got fucking Aaron Taylor Johnson got the Globe.
yes.
And then Shannon got the Oscar nomination. That was a crazy. I remember it. It's weird how much it felt like Ali still had it in the bag. But regardless, that was a. I love how crazy that supporting actor race was.
His rotating list of challengers was
So
never
now,
ending.
okay, so now we've got Del Toro's got like all the Critics Awards. Elordi's got Critics' Choice. Skarsgård's got the Globe. Penn's got BAFTA. This is nuts, and I
And
love
to
it.
be fair, looking at predictions, all of us went Del Toro for SAG.
which would not surprise me.
No, not at all.
I'd actually look forward to that happening, honestly.
I look forward to SAG in general.
I was actually right before they said Penn, I was this close to thinking it was going to be Mescal tonight.
It seemed like they were setting it up too. But we all thought that Hamnet would do much better than it actually did overall.
And
well,
then,
okay, we believed in the possibility it could do a lot better than it actually did. That's a better way to word that.
But then there's the thing that I said in our SAG video. Let's say Miles Caton pulls an Idris Elba.
Mm-hmm.
Does that momentum go right to Delroy Lindo?
It very well could.
Delroy Lindo got so much love when he got his nomination.
He got a great reaction on stage tonight too.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Jordan has got to have something to do with that too. But I mean, you got to think a lot of those people are popping for Lindo.
So basically, just based on that information and everything we just went through, supporting actor is everybody's game. Not a single one of those 5 is out of the race.
Nope.
That's great. The snow's coming down really hard. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but
No, my cold weather's not supposed to start till Tuesday.
So yeah, and I say every year supporting actor always ends up being my favorite category. It's always got my favorite performances in it, and it can often be a great race. And honestly, damn it, I almost I almost said, and I'd be happy with any of them.
No.
I'm not crazy about Elordi, but
No. I think I just like him more after Wuthering Heights.
But
that's not his fault. He had what he had to work with, I guess.
And I just have to say, another thing I say every year about my favorites is SAG is always my favorite show.
Yes.
I love its flow. They always have the great speeches. Everybody's so comfortable there. Everybody's like so amongst their people there. And on top of what our winners are doing right now, I don't know that I've ever been more excited for a SAG show. I guess I've been complaining all season that SAG is so late this year. I think it's actually worked in its favor now that I've never been more excited for a SAG show after all this.
Then Paddington showed up.
That's great.
By the way, I know we talked about this beforehand. That Paddington would be there. I was expecting something like, remember when Woody and Buzz were at the Oscars, or when Ted was at the Oscars?
Right.
That's what I thought they were doing. When he physically walked out, I was surprised.
He had a handler and everything.
The only thing that would have topped it is if Ben Whishaw was in there. But I'm assuming the voice was pre-recorded.
No, I think it would have been live off stage, just like it is in the musical.
Oh, nice.
So they played it towards the musical version, not the theatrical version.
Because a la sort of the Jerry Anderson puppets of like the 50s and 60s, the voice is mapped to electronics in the mouth, so the mouth moves when the person's speaking. So
That's awesome.
it's not pre.
Kind of like how they do Avenue Q.
And yeah, Boom wins with a semi-political speech regarding the conflict, I think, in that northern part of India, Pakistan, where the film is set. But also she hugged Paddington, so who knows? Then we take a swerve. And I don't mean that swerve, Owen.
Heel turn. Literally.
We run through some of the also presented on this night, which I'll tell you when they actually got presented in the broadcast, but in terms of what actually happened on the night. So first up, production design going to Frankenstein.
Good job, AJ.
I just feel like that's a given at this point.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Wow.
I think it won something at the Set Designers Guild over the weekend, so I'll have to double check on that. Then makeup and hair went to Frankenstein.
Another one that just has to be a given.
Then documentary went to Mr. Nobody Against Putin,
Ashley got that one.
with a nice little moment of the actual man himself, the Mr. Nobody, being on stage with the, just saying thank you because he didn't know a lot of English. But you know, considering the story basically ends with the production people / the BBC getting him out because it was getting to the point that he could have been a Navalny sort of deal. Which is weird because Navalny was running for political office. This guy was just a teacher in a certain, school. So different scale, but it might have been the same result. So that was a nice little moment there. And then both of the shorts got revealed. Short itself went to This is Endometriosis. Which, having looked into it more now, because after doing the predictions, probably like a significant, actually documentary to some extent, because, one of the, I don't know if it's the star of the show is one of the producers at least, and it's her story of having to deal with it. And as she said in her speech, apparently there's even doctors that are like it doesn't exist, even though it's a medical condition. So it's like, surely you should know it exists because that's why it's got a name. Like, it's not just made up. And then Two Black Boys in Paradise winning Best Short Animation. I think I also realised now, because of also what happened over the weekend, why at least I went with Cardboard is not only because it was Oscar shortlisted, but it was it was Annie shortlisted as well. And it's kind of rare for something to do both. Then again, it won neither because Snow Bear won, which of course didn't even make it in the Oscar 5, so lol.
Well, the other bear one.
Yeah. And then we jump back to 2. Well, I know, I think 1 because then they did 2 and then they had the musical interlude. So yeah, original screenplay going to Sinners.
Yeah, like I was saying in the prediction video, this is where I took my swing
Yeah.
when the winner was obvious. But yeah, I was already saying I thought Kugler ended this race a long time ago, and do we need any more proof?
Nah, it's over.
And then outstanding debut went to Akinola Davis Jr.'s My Father's Shadow. And also Wale Davis as writer as well. Both have to be acknowledged because they were both the debut people on that production. So
that was definitely it was either one or the other.
Yeah.
With it, Napoleon.
With both getting the success that they did at the Independent Film Awards and being the significant ones there, that they were sort of the two front runners there. Then we had the K-pop Demon Hunters performance, which was pretty good. Although I do question one of the ladies' dresses because it's like she was trying to sort of dance, but with the dress, it was basically like it was a giant metal sheet, so she had no movement. So it was just like, I'm having to do stuff with my legs because I can't move my top. Like, but they did a good musical performance. At least that's the key thing.
Also, to the surprise of absolutely no one, speaking of the Annies and K-pop Demon Hunters,
Yeah, dear
that happened
God,
last week.
I didn't expect it to win everything though. I didn't expect it to sweep. Um, then we randomly jump back to also presented on this night, but again, this was part of part one of that. The outstanding contribution to British cinema for Claire Binns, the creative director of Picture House Cinemas and Picture House Entertainment / distribution and whatever. With so we never got to see Skarsgård on the stage because we could have, other than that little bit when they say the outstanding contribution award goes to Claire Binns. We were robbed of that. What the hell? I'm guessing that probably is because, at least in the UK, Picture House is probably distributing Sentimental Value. I'm guessing. I think it is. Can't remember off the top of my head.
By the way, shout out to Sentimental Value for getting that Criterion release going up.
Yeah.
It's a really nice cover, too.
No doubt we'll talk about the Criterion stuff Tuesday. With the Hangout style thing we're doing. And now we jump to the second half of the also presented on this night. Because this is where we all spliced them together and then pretty much... So yeah, as you'll have told from that, we've only done 5 awards so far. And we're nearly catching up to the broadcast in terms of where we are. So I feel like they cut out way more than they have in previous years, or at least where they've cut it out from, it's a completely different cutting and whatever. Anyway, so part 2, as you'll see it on the broadcast, started off with best casting, which did go to I Swear.
You know, when it started, I felt that I looked at the list of all the ones that we predicted, and the immediate thing that came to my mind was, I think we're all wrong. And as they were being on casting, I was like, we're not getting a point here. And I was right.
That kid that plays him in the opening scenes is really good. It almost makes you forget it's not his movie and that Robert Aramayo is coming up at some point.
Speaking of not getting a point.
Yeah, editing. Which, lo and behold, goes to one battle after another.
I like this win a lot.
I feel when I'll say when it comes to us doing Oscar predictions soon, I'm starting to feel pretty good about this being a thing.
I mean, we will find out next week because the Eddie Awards are happening. Okay, it's sort of unfair because they're obviously split into categories, but I think all 5 at least listed. Because I don't know, do the editing match the Oscars as well? I can't remember. No, because House of Dynamite's there. So I'm just checking that the others that were at least on tonight are in the... Yeah, there's Sinners, there's Marty, there's F1.
Yeah, the only difference was House of Dynamite in the spot that Sentimental Value got.
And yeah, there's Sentimental Value in Dramatic then. Yeah, so that's how BAFTA was inspired. It didn't even make it in the... House of Dynamite didn't even make it in the editing. the Eddie Awards, I should say. So yeah, that was an interesting one. And then, in turn, oh wait, we've got to jump to that in a minute. Animated, unsurprisingly, does go to Zootopia Zootropolis, Part 2. I was right about them being inspired on one. It's just I got it the wrong way round, and also the wrong film. And then, yeah, cinematography also going to one battle after another.
That one, that's interesting. Again, I don't hate it. It bothers me because Train Dreams is here, but without that in my head, I do really like that idea. Like I was saying, I would assume the top two would have been Train Dreams and Sinners for this. Which it could still be. This could just be a BAFTA thing, but it's definitely in the conversation now.
I don't think so. And I also could go to the route of, hey, it's one battle, whatever it is, we're just going to vote for it. No, it belongs in this conversation, and it feels like it was not really being spoken up about many times when you're talking about predictions. And it needed to get a win to be able to be in the conversation, and that's exactly what it did. And foreseeable future right now, you can easily say Train Dreams would be the front runner. And it went from not even being in contention to beating the front runner. So, I mean, I feel that we have a different conversation to have in a couple of weeks.
When I think about One Battle cinematography, two scenes. The way the camera moves during that whole middle sequence when they're going through Del Toro's store and up through all the hallways and stuff like that. But if you just say One Battle cinematography, the two things that come to mind for me are, of course, the chase at the end,
Absolutely.
when it's like point of view shots over the hills, but also, and PTA said something crazy about this at the DGA panel, where it's the shot when they're running on the rooftops and the skateboarders are like silhouetted.
Right.
PTA said that shot was a fucking accident. That was not even planned. He said that was just the movie gods on their side that day. And that's like literally the second thing that comes to mind when I think of its cinematography, period. And yeah, so it's weird saying this about, I think I said this about something else too. That even though One Battle is where it is in this competition, this feels like an inspired win.
Mm-hmm.
Were we talking about cinematography when I said that before? Where I said One Battle was inspired, even though it's One Battle.
It's possible because it seems like Train Dreams was like positioned to win, and it still might be. It's just now there's at least more competition, and it's not just Sinners now.
Yeah, this
Puts a wedge in a lot of things.
It's going to be really hard to decide if cinematography here was like, oh, this is like the BAFTA choice, or if it's like this is a sign of something.
And again, we kind of won't know with that anyway, because cinematographers are one of the last to reveal their hand, because I think they're March 8th. So, same day as WGA. Then, followed up with that was Sound, which went to F1, the movie. So, it did get some recognition.
Sound is another category this year where it's like any of the choices would be great wins. There's no like throwaway in sound this year.
And then score going to Ludwig Göransson for Sinners.
Makes me think that Granson is just going to scoot on for the rest of the run because if Greenwood was going to win, it was going to have to be here. And I feel that he didn't win here. So it makes me think that he's not going to win this season again. And this is going to be a Sinners win. You talk about what Sinners can legitimately win at the Oscars, and score and screenplay seem to jump out at me immediately.
I feel like Goranson in the score category is kind of like what Shiva was doing for a bit there in cinematography.
Mm.
Like he just keeps winning over and over and over again, and it's like I'm good with this. I'm actually not bored with this. That this person keeps winning.
I would like Greenwood to win, though.
It would be a great win for if with Greenwood could take it also. I also that was a great speech on Gorson's behalf by Kugler.
Yeah. The bit that didn't get mentioned, but I did notice on Twitter when it happened. Ludwig can't be here tonight. He's making a small indie film called The Odyssey. And then we jump back to Award 6 as people are going to see it on the television broadcast, but like we're in the home straight even though it don't feel like it. So yeah, adapted screenplay goes to PTA.
Yes.
Another great presentation by Warwick Davis, of course.
Mm-hmm. Like the bit I like, whether that's throwing the jibes, it's like, well, we made a small lectern for Paddington, so you might as well use it for more than once. I was like, oh shit.
Also funny about the digs at Tom Cruise, and then he gives it to somebody who is famously friends with Tom Cruise.
And then also nearly precedingly drops the thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he won one before. It's just
He said,
yeah, because he
he
won
said,
screenplay for Licorice Pizza a few years back, but I guess I'm trying to remember why he wasn't there.
I remember he said he had one, and I couldn't remember what it was for.
Yeah, as I said, screenplay for Licorice Pizza. When we got Hope. I'm trying to work
Tell
out
me
why
about
he wasn't there though, because like he wouldn't have been doing one battle after another at that point. I don't think so. It was
I said this while we were watching it though. Let us not ignore the fact that he straight up said he's writing right now.
yeah.
it. Oh yeah.
That's very exciting.
Then just trying to look at this in terms of. I think we had costume next, and then we had the thing. So yeah, costume design did go to Frankenstein.
That was another one that I felt pretty. Did you guys say Hamnet?
Yes.
Yeah, for some reason, like I said, I don't know if it's like I think it's the opening scene. There's usually like the one costume you think about that might single-handedly do it, and I always think of at the beginning when like his mom's coming down the stairs and it's like that long red dress. Just thinking about that, I was like, I'm gonna say Frankenstein, and I'm weirdly confident about it. I mean, yeah, there's costumes all over that movie, but usually you just need that one standout one, and that's where it might go.
And then I think that's when they had the in memoriam segment, which I guess gave us prep for what's going to happen at the actors and what's going to happen at the Oscars, because that list felt way more like a lot of recognizable names than unrecognizable names like it does in previous years.
And still felt
Short,
weirdly. Yeah, it felt weirdly condensed. Like
very short.
we're gonna see, I think SAG and the Oscars will have a much longer one
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, you know, when we were watching it, we were sort of like, "Where's Maggie?" And I was wondering whether, because of the timing of it, BAFTA might have recognized her at the TV awards, because that would have been Mayish or June, I think, last year, which would have been around the same time that she passed. Um,
I was surprised to see Hackman because I would have thought he was the year before, but I can't remember. Both Hackman and Maggie Smith. I can't remember when they actually died.
well, I keep in mind as well, in terms of that would have happened for Oscars, because BAFTA last year was, if it loads, the 16th of February. And yeah, Hackman died on, well, estimated to be on the 18th.
Oh wow.
So it would, that's how, that's why they wanted to acknowledge it, because they never got a chance to. And yeah, he wouldn't have done much British or international TV work for it to make sense to do it sort of any point else, I want to say. And then Maggie Smith was, oh, I take it back. Maggie Smith was 2024, so they would have done it last year. It felt like she only passed away last. Is it because of the Downton film? God damn it, Downton! We thought she lived long. Um, and then I think it was at this point, because um, this would have been within the time frame of, because yeah. Let's get to, hang on, let me jump back to where I was in the list. So when they did, oh no, I guess it would have been, would it have been after that? I can't remember.
And I have the list in front of me.
Cumming brought up about Tourette's and whatever. I can't remember whether it was at this point. I know it was at some point, and it would have been after the thing had been broadcast. Um, he mentions something about Tourette's, and if people were offended by the language, which then rolls us back to the one that apparently for some reason people that did watch it live have been slightly up in arms over, and that is the fact that the subject of I swear, what's his name, John, I
David.
literally had it up earlier. I want to get his name
David.
right. So John Davidson was obviously in attendance because of I Swear with its multiple nominations and whatever, and we sort of got early hints of this because there were a couple of outbursts during the opening monologue. But again, it's Tourette's. It just so happened that the VFX award was presented by Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, and John, with his Tourette's, said the M word. And I don't know. I'm trying to say pleasingly or unpleasingly, because this is where the furores come out of. They didn't decide to edit that bit out. From what I understand as well, once that happened, John realized that the ceremony itself was a bit too much for him, and he either went, into the auditorium and whatever, so he could still be part of them once the things had happened. But at that point, I think he realized his Tourette's was probably too much for the ceremony. But of course, there's people calling for cancelling and everything because somebody shouted the M word at the thing, not realizing it's a medical condition. But
I was just about to say, that really sucks for Jordan and Lindo. I'm really glad I didn't know in the moment that's what was happening.
mm-hmm.
But if you've seen the movie, you know that Davidson himself has to be humiliated by that.
Yeah.
And it's like it just sucks for everybody.
At the same time, though, like, it's something that could have been edited out, but because it's reflecting Tourette's, it's like you can't, because that's what John's whole campaign was actually about. Letting Tourette's be treated as a normality, not as a sort of weird thing. It's a shame, as I say, it happened on the stage it did. But yeah, we'll wait to see if it'll be interesting to see whether that airs and gets explained in the same way on the US broadcast, or whether they try and change it. I don't think they would, because they address if anybody was offended by it. They can't help it, but also recognizing it probably wasn't suitable for those gentlemen. So I just thought I'd bring it up there because I think it was at somewhere at that point, because it would have been sort of after the thing had started airing. So then we go to international feature film, which is a win for sentimental value.
It is interesting. It seems like on paper, obviously, sentimental value seems like, of course, this is its category. But it is really interesting how present the secret agent has been, also.
Mm-hmm.
Where it does almost feel like, even despite the fact that sentimental value has 9 Oscar nominations, 8 or 9. It's a lot. That it almost seems like I interrupted my own thought because now I'm trying to remember how many nominations Cinema Value does actually have. It's picture, director, actress, supporting actor, both supporting actresses, original screenplay, edit. Is it 7? Oh, international. I always forget it's fucking international. Is it 8?
Which is literally the point you're trying to make right now. That's even better.
I did. By the way, we brought up "I'm Still Here" again the other day, and I did the same fucking. I've always done that to "I'm Still Here" too. When I count its Oscar nominations, I forget it was 3 and not 2, and the one I'm forgetting is international. But
we're at the point now we don't look at sentimental value as just an international movie. We're looking at it as an actual picture contender because that's what it is.
Yeah, the goal that started putting international movies in higher categories is working. They're blending in now. But yeah, all of that to say, some part of me thinks The Secret Agent is not out of this.
Mm-mm.
Even though, like, by all evidence, Seminole Value has got the rest of this category for the next. No, it's just the Oscars now.
Yep.
But yeah, I still feel like there's a bit of a race, and the Emilio Perez "I'm Still Here" story kind of changed the whole we always wondered if they would, in previous years, when there was always usually only one international movie in the 10,
Mm.
it's like, will the international category go for a different one? That's like that can be a thing now. Finally.
Then we
Not
have
to,
best.
but I don't want that to sound like I forgot that The Secret Agent's also a Best Picture nominee. Just that
Mm-mm.
Sentimental Value has much more nominations.
Much more going for it overall.
Hmm.
So yeah, then British film went to Ham of the Net. Which I guess makes sense considering it actually was shot here, which I don't know whether what was with all of them. I can't remember whether Die My Love was shot in the UK or
I,
not. A lot of the
I
production
just
people would
love
have been.
that.
Oh no, Canada.
I love that it's so obvious that Hamnet was going to win this category that when you said that, we were all just silent for like 10 seconds because we had nothing
I
to
say,
Damn it. Although I find it interesting that Spielberg didn't show up, considering he was at the Globes, right, when it got drama there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think he was at the Globes and Mendez wasn't. They might have switched ceremonies.
Because I don't know how hands-on he is. We see with him post-production, because he's obviously gonna, his big thing in Disclosure Day, which, considering what's in that trailer, I'm trying to work out if I can get an idea of what the plot is and whatever. Um, but yeah, that might explain it. To be fair, AJ. Then we have the Rising Star Award, which went to Robert Aramayo for his performances in Palestine 36 and I Swear. Among
I'll
others,
be
and did a good
I'll be
speech.
really curious. I will be really curious to see where his career goes now because it does seem like he can do a lot of different things.
Plus, as it even was addressed in the, obviously the people presenting it was last year's winner and last year's not winner, in Amy and Robert. Just because you don't win doesn't necessarily mean. I mean, just going through the list from when the category started for covering 2005's films through to 2009, the winners for those 5 respective years of the decade were McAvoy, Eva Green, Shia LaBeouf, Noel Clarke, and Kristen Stewart. The ones that missed were Chiwetel Ejiofor, Gael Garcia Bernal, Rachel McAdams, Michelle Williams, Emily Blunt, Naomi Harris, Cillian Murphy, Ben Whishaw, Sienna Miller, Elliot Page, Sam Riley, Tang Wei, Michael Cera, Michael Fassbender, Rebecca Hall, Toby Kebbell, Jesse Eisenberg, Nicholas Hoult, Kerry Mulligan, and Tara Rahim. So, and
So more
it
more
really
often
sort
than
of is, to some extent, I feel the Rising Star Award is the casting list that you go to in case, do I want a young talent that's, made a name for themselves to possibly get another gig.
it's a very perceptive list.
Emma Stone lost in 2010. Hemsworth and Hiddleston both lost in 2011. And Eddie Redmayne that same year. Vikander lost. Lupita Nyong'o lost. Miles Teller lost. Margot Robbie lost. Dakota Johnson, Taron Egerton. Like, there's a lot of big names that didn't win, but are still doing incredible work, sort of thing. Plus, of
Really,
course, you
the
have to take into account Rising Star is the popularity one because it's the only publicly voted category as well.
so I
Which,
guess you could.
in that
I
extent,
guess
I
you could,
understand why Arameo won.
so the only one that really hasn't aged well is Clark, I guess, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, well, yeah, to some extent, Adam Deacon in 2011, but considering the allegations he sort of made against Clark to some extent because of some of the sort of legal issues that he had and hasn't done a huge amount of things. Because the irony is, of course, that Adam basically took over Noel's work because it was what kidulthood and adulthood that Clark did, and then Adam followed it up with Another Hood and Some Other Hood, which kind of, I mean, it was a different vein because there were sort of action comedy things rather than gritty things, but considering the name, that's clearly what he was going after. Because you put Hood in the name. I mean, Juno Temple obviously has been busy with Ted Lasso and Fargo, but hasn't done as much movie stuff as I'd think. And I guess the same with Bookie Bakrai for the COVID BAFTAs. Or, well, no, it would have
Juno,
been actually. It wouldn't have been COVID. It would have been. No, it would have been because they would have presented the awards in 21. Yeah, she showed up in The Strays a few years back, and apparently is in Gina Prince Bythewood's Children of Blood and Bone that's supposed to be coming out some point next year. So she hasn't done a huge amount, but she's still in her 20s. There's still plenty that she can sort of do. So
Juno Temple is an interesting one because she had a. I feel like she was having a pretty strong run in the Killer Joe era, and then it seemed like she disappeared for almost a decade, and then she's made a comeback now. Unless there's just a lot of stuff I missed in that gap.
hang on. So she won in 2012. So that, yeah, that would have been sort of Killer Joe, and I guess to some extent the mini role in Dark Knight Rises.
Her 30 seconds in there.
Yeah, but yeah. So Lovelace, Maleficent, Sin City, Far from the Madding Crowd. Oh, of course, she was in Wonder Wheel. Yeah, the Maleficent sequel. She was in the Venom thing, and yeah, so she sort of didn't do a huge amount, but yeah. So the last couple of years, Venom: The Last Dance, Roofman, and the just released Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die.
Ooh.
And then apparently she's in Swapped, which is a Netflix animation voice thing, alongside Michael B. Jordan and Tracy Morgan and Cedric the Entertainer. That's supposed to be coming out this year. So, yeah. Then jumping to director, which goes to Paul Thomas Anderson.
It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's just so awesome to know.
I feel like his shout outs to Adam Sumner are getting more beautiful with each speech.
For sure.
More so, obviously, with BAFTA because of Sumner's nationality. So,
Yeah.
that to some extent it might mean the most to him for this one. You see, just because I guess how indebted he felt to have him working with him for all the projects over the years. So,
That was. I'm getting a little ahead here, but that was really touching. when the other producer basically gave the speech that he would have given.
Hmm.
Oh, for sure.
Then, uh, you guys watching the broadcast will see also presented on this night part one. But in the real timeline, we jump to the Fellowship, of which Prince William did a good speech for Donna Langley. And then we had the sort of video package of. I'm trying to remember who we had in it. I might see if I can, as long as it doesn't affect the broadcast too much, which it shouldn't. I might try and sort of mute a tab and remind myself who was in it. The obvious ones, which make sense considering the work that they've done at least over the years for the, well, over a year, I guess, for one of them. Well, no, I guess it's been a couple of years since Oppenheimer came out, but yeah, Spielberg was an obvious call because what that goes back to was Close Encounters Universal. I think E.T. was, so I know from that point it was.
Oh my god, I actually don't remember. I want to say it was Paramount. That could be wrong.
So there's.
Columbia.
Oh, so the one that we didn't see because my web browser was having issues while we were trying to get this stream set up. The woman's voice we heard was Judy Kramer, who was the producer behind at least I think both Mamma Mia films, and then Eric Fellner, who produced I think all the Bridget Joneses, and judging from the graphics, okay, then we have Tim Bevan, so that's Love Actually, that's Pride and Prejudice. There's Hamnet, of course, because that's Focus, because it's technically the same company. Um, and then there was the random bit. Oh no, there was also a Tom Cruise sighting, which I guess would be American made. I mean, they show a lot
Keep
of the
forgetting
films. It's not just necessarily, they show Get Out and Halloween, but they didn't have anybody sort of from those. And then there was the random bit that was like seemingly stuck on last minute at the end from Emma Thompson, just being Emma Thompson. Um, and yeah, she also did a good speech about sort of her time in the industry and everything, and how filmmakers need to be making the right sort of films, which is obviously the way you basically getting around political talk. Um, but yeah, a nice speech from her, and then the final three, and best actor totally mixes. Well, it doesn't mix everything up because it's probably British skew, but Robert Aramayo gets a double win,
All right.
of which his
There is
family were absolutely apeshit about.
yeah, there was something I was gonna say before we started live, and then I said, "Oh no, wait, I can just say that while we're live."
Yes. I'm
Um,
curious.
First off, great reaction and great speech.
Hmm.
I got flashbacks to Anna Paquin's Oscar speech when it took her a second to find the first word. um, but I feel like it's so telling about him that this is the second best actor speech of this year that singled out Ethan Hawke for a different reason. Because we had Chalamet at the Globes talking about when they like would read at script readings together,
Yes.
and it's like seeing Ethan Hawke being able to see like his mentorship over these winners has to be. It looked like he didn't see that Arameo shout out coming at all,
Mm-mm.
so that's really as somebody that's like obsessed with Ethan Hawke. I love these shout outs he's getting.
Would absolutely love if it led to him taking SAG next week out of absolute nowhere.
That like with the respect that he has, it's
It's not
honest.
impossible.
Yeah, I'm not letting my mind go there.
No, of course not.
I
But
feel
we've
like
already predicted, so it's fine.
yeah, this is
It's
already
over. We've already
this is-
predicted these things. They're videos on this channel.
yeah, with Arameo otherwise not being in the race, this was just like a minor step back for Chalamet, but I'm imagining he's fine.
You,
Again,
you know what
unless
Robert's first... Okay, he's credited as Rob rather than Robert, but you know what his first credited thing that isn't a short film? Which will probably get a kick out of you, AJ? Nocturnal Animals.
Interesting.
is he like in the gang?
He's Turk, so I want to say yes.
Well, it's time to watch Nocturnal Animals again, which I have no problem doing.
But it was in the middle of that he was also part of Harley and the Davidsons, the mini series from the origins of Harley Davidson, and then of course young Ned Stark in Game of Thrones for the past couple of years. And then really in terms of sort of film stuff, first one I recognise mostly would be the Antebellum film with Janelle Monáe from like 5 years ago, and The Empty Man. So like that was his horror run, and then Kingsman the year after, and then smallish projects for the past few years. It'll be interesting to see whether he does get some big, as you say, it'll be interesting to see where he goes, because at the minute he's obviously also juggling the fact that he's Elrond in the Lord of the Rings Amazon mini-series, which I think we're doing a third series of that. I don't know how many are program or scheduled. Oh no, there we go. Filming for the third season began by mid-May and wrapped by mid-December, so it's in the can. It's just a case of how long it will take to get produced. Then we go to Best Actress, which does go to Jessie Buckley, as we expected for Hamnet.
It's over.
So they knew what they were doing with the Irish connection. I actually just saw a really nice. It was a Hamnet Q&A with Paul Mescal, and it was Cillian Murphy asking the questions. And it's like Murphy's connection with that movie is really interesting. So it feels like it made sense that he was the presenter here.
And then Glenn Close introducing Best Picture winner, one battle after another.
Yes.
Which is crazy because obviously we always talk about the Big Ten in terms of significance. If you look at what BAFTA did, okay, it didn't win everything because obviously multiple other nominations. But it got editing, it got cinematography, it got writing, it got acting, even though it was only one of them. It got directing, and it got picture. So in terms of like the jewels in the crown, you literally got all six in that respect tonight. Which I guess, gives it hope as to to me it means it's definitely it's going to be a Warner Brothers night, I feel, in 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure. It'd be shocking
I
if
don't
it's
know where it's going to fall in terms of which one will get the most wins, because I feel some of the stuff that happened at BAFTA might not carry through. But if that doesn't happen, the other failsafe, arguably sometimes in those most of the tech categories, is Sinners. And you'd expect also One Battle After Another to do probably better than Sinners did, which, as it had turned out, because of BAFTA obviously giving it more recognition than Sinners did. But in terms of hit rate, it wasn't sort of perfect, because One Battle After Another got 6 out of 14. Frankenstein got 3 out of 8, along with Sinners getting 3 out of 8. Hamnet got 2 out of its 11. Marty Supreme got a goose egg, which apparently is a joint record now. Thing is, can you guess which 2 other films goose egged at the BAFTAs? I want to say they all won at least something at the Oscars. Well, maybe one wouldn't. I don't. Well, no. The one I'll tell you, because it's, you probably wouldn't guess it because we're talking decades ago. The first one was Women in Love. That won 0 for 11 in like 69. But there's one from the 2000s that also did 0 for 11. Despite the fact its subject matter is British. It relates to Disney. It relates to Hugh Jackman. It relates to Steven Spielberg. I'm trying to think all the different adaptations of said character that is. Well, I guess I'm. The clue is the author of said character. AJ's trying to work it out.
Hugh Jackman's throwing me off.
He was in an adaptation of said thing.
Robin Hood?
What wouldn't?
Close.
I mean, when you say that, I think Les Mis.
Think Disney.
But I was gonna say, and you said Spielberg. That took me off Les Mis. And yeah, and Disney. What the fuck's the Disney thing?
Okay. To be a bit more obvious, the Spielberg connection is Robin Williams.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're here. Okay. So we're talking Pan, which is the Disney Hugh Jackman. So, and you say it's a 2000s movie
Yeah.
that had
Relating to Peter Pan.
Finding Neverland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had 11 nominations.
That had 11 BAFTA nominations and took none.
Jeez, where the hell? What 11? How many? There can only be so many categories that movie fits in.
Hang on, let me go back. You're determined to now know how the hell did that. I'm trying to think. That would be. Would that be 2003? Yeah, hang on. I chose the wrong year. I think. No. Wait, what year was Finding Nemo?
It was 2004, so I guess it would be the 2005 ceremony.
So it's the one after. Yeah, there we go. So. Well, okay. So that year was 14 nominations for The Aviator. So.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah. It lost in film to Aviator. It lost in direction to Mike Leigh for Vera Drake. It lost in lead actor to Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
It lost in lead actress to Imelda Staunton for Vera Drake. Let me quickly check through. It lost in supporting actress to Kate Blanchett for Aviator. Lost in adapted screenplay to Sideways. Lost in cinematography to Collateral. Lost in costume design to Vera Drake. Lost in makeup and hair to Aviator. Lost up in score to Motorcycle Diaries. Lost in production design to Aviator. So yeah, that's the 11.
You know what? You know what I think is the issue here is I think I haven't seen Finding Neverland since 2004.
That makes sense.
I guess that wraps us up here.
Yeah. Probably in more ways than one, because with the scores on the docket being AJ with 13 and myself and Owen with 10, I don't want to say it already, but the fact that I think I'm out because there's a 10-point deficit between me and AJ. Owen has the chance to catch up, but with 7 points, and I can't remember how. You didn't differ too much on the guilds?
Not really.
So yeah, certainly not. PGA and WGA were. There were some different predictions made at SAG, so possibly by then we'll know whether AJ has to purposely throw, or or myself and Owen just try and basically get the glory of getting the right amount on Oscars Sunday itself.
I'm so sick of losing this competition every year. I want to win, but it seems like some of these categories are way too obvious for us to not go with the answer.
The thing
the
as
right
well for
one.
me
So it's
is I guess I went with too many. Well, I can't say too many sort of surprise wins, because obviously I was the only one that said won me. I was the only one that said Mr. Nobody against Putin.
you also said Jordan for SAG.
Yeah. To me, the fact is we didn't predict most of them, because AJ quote unquote winning with 13 means he only got a 50% hit rate, because there's 26 awards that they hand out. That's how interesting the BAFTAs were, in terms of we didn't see a fair few of them coming.
Right.
I can't say all of them, because we're going to be pretty blind on like British short animation and British short to some extent. And I don't think any of us had seen Bong or Boom. So then again, I don't know how many people did, because like I know Arco had a handful of screenings, and Lilo and Stitch and Zootopia had more, much more than a handful. Boom, I was like, I didn't even know that film existed. So yeah, we will be returning Tuesday to do a hangout style thing, where probably more of you will want to talk about the BAFTAs, because you'll have seen it by then.
Very true.
Along with probably, addressing the Criterion elephant in the room and some of that stuff, and how Laura Dern's Criterion collection was apparently as long as the Bible. We'll talk about that more when we get there. And then in terms of award stuff, it'll be next week at some point, once we've watched SAG, and then we'll talk about that, as well as the few Producers Guild awards that are also going to be presented out that weekend.
I think it's Tuesday that week. I don't recall. I don't have my schedule in front of me right now, but I think that's right.
Yeah, I'll double check on that when we're off air. But yeah.
And the week after, we got a double shot of the Oscar predictions and our predictions for our Oscar nominations and our wins. Which I can confirm, I don't know if it's going to do anything for my bottom line, and it probably won't, given what AJ has said to me numerous times. But I have a date. I will finally be seeing Train Dreams, and I will see it before this video is done. I'm getting to see it a week early, actually, because I was planning on seeing it Oscar weekend. But luckily, AMC came to my rescue, and they're doing the Best Picture Marathon 2 days, and one of them is on a Saturday, so I'm not going to the theater on Friday. I'll be going to the theater on Saturday, weirdly enough. So I'm changing my plans just so I can... And then I'll go to see Simple Plan the day afterwards. So...
The band, not the Raimi movie, right?
Right. the band that I look very similar to the lead singer, Pierre. So... I really do. That's your show. First off, on behalf of AJ, I want to thank Ashley for helping us view this show 4 hours early.
Yes.
And when you're watching this on archive, you will have already seen the show, and I have not, and AJ has not, and Ashley has not completely spoiled something that is not aired yet. If you're watching this now, then I didn't really have to put spoilers up, because by the time most people watch this, it's going to be over. So there you go. And we'll join you Tuesday. I believe it's 5. I think it is, for another hangout. I think I either work till 3 or 4 that day, so I think it's 5. I'm pretty sure it's 3. So yeah, I think it's 5 on Tuesday. So yeah, that's your show. And AJ reviews will be coming back very soon. Ashley content will be coming back in the near future. I've got plenty of videos that I still need to put up. Like I said, we can get you all the way to Horror Nights and beyond with content that I have on the channel that's currently on private. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. Don't forget to stream water parks, and always remember to have the best day ever. 'Tis the season after all. Smarty party as well. So in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.